Hello there, it's time for another mail video, and I figured we'd do it over here because it was a little easier for me to set up so we could get this done quickly because I actually have a number of projects that I'm working on currently, and there was just enough mail accumulated to make it worth going ahead and opening all of it. But that's enough preamble. Let's go ahead and get started with the first package. The first package comes from David in South Lancashire in the UK. All right, I'm going to be trying a dual camera setup here, so we're gonna have to see how this goes. I kind of liked using the Nikon with the Data General stuff, so I'm thinking it could be beneficial to bring it back for some more videos, just make my life a little easier for filming. Okay, what do we have here? So I knew what David was sending for the most part, but I was kind of surprised by the size of this box. And then it actually said something else on it that I didn't know about, so a little extra curious here. So let's see. This is a copy of Populous for the Atari ST, and I think, okay, all right, so that is an SF1341 internal drive, and it needs some repair, and oh, it's gonna need quite a bit of repair, actually. I don't know if this happened in shipping or not, but the power connector is broken loose there, so that's not good. So that'll have to be addressed. But this was not functional for one reason or another. And Dave, also, who goes by Dave Velociraptor, offered to send this to me so that I could try fixing it. And I am quite interested in that because this is the high density drive for the Atari ST and will allow me to run actual software. Like this is probably, actually, that is a low density disk. That's kind of funny. But it will allow me to run a lot more software made for the ST, and it will just be really nice if I can get this working. So thank you, Dave, for sending this. This will be very helpful. The next package comes from Andrew from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Now this package is extremely small, and I really don't remember what is in here, so this is a complete surprise to me. So I'm curious because I don't remember what may be this small. My best guess would be a calculator of some kind. And oh, okay, this is another Atari ST package. Actually, these are the Omron switches that go in the Atari ST mouse. Okay, so I remember Andrew reached out saying, hey, I have some of those that are new old stock. These are the original switches that go in the ST mouse, and he offered to send them. Now, I mentioned in the video on the ST that I was actually quite content with the micro switches that are like in a normal mouse, but honestly, I'm always going to lean towards making things original when I can. So once I realized that would probably be the way to go, I accepted those and will probably take a look at putting those back in at some point. Thank you for the kind note, Andy. And he mentioned that he hopes to see more office vlogs sometime soon. I haven't decided quite how I'm going to return to those yet because I really wanted to get back to just making normal videos because it had been quite a while. And things are kind of progressing slowly around the office now that I'm getting both regular videos and general office work done. There probably will be an office walkthrough tour update at some point, but I'm still getting some things settled in, and there hasn't been as much progress that is really camera worthy. So when it makes sense to do an update, I will, but there will be small feature videos that are more polished, like normal videos that are going to look at some areas of the office. It'll be kind of like office vlogs, but not quite the same. So don't worry, you'll get to see more of what's coming up with the office, but I'm trying to focus more on normal videos right now. The next package comes from Thomas in Beamsville, Ontario, Canada. Up next is a package that I am pretty sure that I do remember what is that Thomas offered to send, and I'm a little excited about this one. This is not only an interesting thing in and of itself, but I believe it's going to complete a collection for me. Thank you for the note, Thomas, and he gave me some tips on how to present his name and locate the pin on the globe. Just a minor production note, I've started filming all of the labels and the pins before I actually open everything, because then I can do that all at once and then just kind of let the camera roll while I open the stuff, which made it a lot simpler to do. I used to start and stop constantly. This has just been way easier. But if there is a note that's significant, then I will go back and reshoot that just because I will be able to. But thank you for letting me know. Now, this is an interesting thing, actually. So this is something that may have been considered a runner-up type thing. That's funny. And obviously an AMD graphics card would be, no, I'm just kidding. This is a 3DFX Voodoo Banshee. So this card, which you can see over here, is a different kind of card from the Voodoo 3000, which I believe was the contemporary to this one. And I'm not fully aware of what all of the differences are, but they're kind of like the Voodoo Rush, where they're not really considered to be like one of the top spec Voodoo cards. So they didn't really sell quite as well, and especially compared to the Voodoo 3, which there are so many of. So this is really exciting for me to get, because that was the last one for me. I have a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, and 5, and a Rush, and now a Banshee. And that is, as far as I'm aware, all of the normal commercially produced 3DFX cards that were made. Now there are, of course, vendor differences. Like this is a diamond card, and you could get different varieties that have, say, different advantages of one over the other. Like the Voodoo 2 I have actually has higher speed RAM chips, but that is it for the general idea of one of each kind of card. So thank you so much, Thomas, for sending this. That is really awesome for me that is now complete. And if I want to, I can actually go ahead and compare every single Voodoo card, and I'm slightly interested in doing that, so I may at some point. Now, also included were the original driver disc, which is really awesome to get. There are lots of drivers available for the Voodoo cards that have been archived and put in different places like Falcon Fly. I think when it was up, I think it went down now, and it's now been mirrored to another site. I think you can get most of them there, and then there are some third-party drivers, and by that I mean like a homebrew kind of modified drivers. But the Banshee, I don't know what the driver support like is out there, so that's really nice to get, and I will be ripping that and putting that on archive.org, don't worry. So that'll be cool. Also included are 3 other discs, another driver disc for a DVD drive, a driver disc for a Maxi Sound Fortismo. Sounds like a weird sound card. And then this one's kind of funny. This is a driver disc for a motherboard, and I have the box for this motherboard, but I don't have the motherboard, which is just kind of funny. So I guess I'm on a quest to complete a mainboard motherboard set, which I wasn't expecting. But thank you again for sending the Voodoo Banshee and the driver discs. I will be making disc images of all of those and, putting them on archive.org so anyone who needs them can go ahead and grab them. But yeah, again, thank you. The next package comes from Nathan in Bellbrook, Ohio. Okay, now we're back into the ones that I don't remember what all are. So let's go ahead and all be surprised together here. Oh, wow, okay. I think this was just super fast. Yeah, okay, I know exactly what this is. Whoa, I didn't realize this was gonna be here this quick. This is a very, very interesting package. I am still on a quest to put together a computer with the ability to interface with all of my test equipment over here. And I think I should make it a modern PC because I really need to do some stuff for that. One thing, I mentioned I was going to stream working on the data generals, and I did. This is the power supply for the Micronova. So this is now outside and separate. And what's going to be next is reforming capacitors on this. But I want to set up the reforming with automation, and I'm going to be doing that by using HPIB cards to control all of my test gear. Now, these are more GPIB cards, or GPIB or HPIB. This one's definitely HPIB because it's an HP card that are for PCs. Now, I have some of these already. I now have quite a collection. I will probably call it here. I think I should be good. And I was trying to go for a wider array of them because I don't know which ones are going to work with the software I have. So I figured I'd do one more shot when these were offered to me by Nathan. And actually, there were two in here in particular that I found quite interesting. Whoa, that is even weirder than I thought. One of them was this one. This is a Zytec card, but the black card connector or backplate really caught my eye as it could be for PC class or XT class systems. And now that I'm seeing this in person, this is plastic, which I have not encountered outside of 3D printing. And it's labeled EMI shield. So that's very weird. But the thing is, this one actually uses a standard like chip. It's a TI TMS 9914 ANL, which I believe is just going to be a generic 8-bit interface to GPIB output. So this one might be really easy to get going, or it's going to be a complete nightmare. I don't know. Nathan actually found me some documentation on that card, so that one should be possible to get working. Now these are totally different. These are extraordinarily weird, and I kind of accepted these just because they were weird. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to be able to get these working because they're very, very, very strange. Now, these seemed to be two identical GPIB cards. However, there's a little bit more going on than just being a GPIB card, because look at that monster. Now, I was actually talking to someone about these cards and happened to notice something on them as I was looking at them a bit closer. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here, but that's a Motorola 68K. That's the CPU that's in a Mac. So this thing's got a lot going on. It's obviously got RAM as well. These are SIMs of memory. These look like 32-pin SIMs like a 486 would use. Nathan found, yeah, it says Waters on it, which seemed to be the manufacturer, but I'm not too sure if that's someone that is going to have put out drivers or not. Now I have two of these as well. I believe the two cards are essentially identical. Yeah, they seem to be. So we have two ROM chips here. These are quite the thing. These are like an SBC. This could be a whole computer. We got a CPU, a pretty significant CPU, and then RAM, and then probably a bunch of FPGAs. Oh, I see a National Instruments chip. Okay, that appears to be the GPIB controller, which makes sense. It's interesting. So it's possible that will work. Well, interesting. Drop-in replacement for TMS 9914, which is not the same. No, that is the same. Okay, that is really funny. Okay, so these have a National Semiconductor GPIB controller that is meant to be drop-in compatible with the one on this. So these two cards have functionally identical GPIB controllers right there, which is kind of interesting. And that also lends credence to the idea that this GPIB controller is probably a somewhat generic interface one, and that tells me I might be able to get National Semiconductor drivers working for this card, so that's really good to know. But again, thank you for sending these. Let's move on to the next one now. The next package comes from Tom in Walcott, Connecticut. Okay, we are back to another one that I'm not sure what is, so this will be a little bit of a surprise, but I see a note that will probably... Oh, okay. Nope, I already know. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Thank you, Tom, and for the note. Okay, there are a number of things in here, it seems, and one of them it's actually going to be kind of helpful for the video I'm currently working on. So that'll go, oh my gosh, it's new, into immediate use. A copy of PC-DOS 5. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. But the main thing was a set of Coleco Adam software, which is going to be really cool. So expert type, 2010, a text adventure game. I assume, yeah, they're all going to be cassette. So that's going to be a bit of a thing. A children's story book thing. It's got the worm in the apple car. I don't remember what that's called. A recipe book. Oh, another copy of 2010. Okay, and then a copy of a more traditional game, Dragon's Lair. Man, that is some phenomenal artwork. Look at that. That is some great artwork for a home copy of Dragon's Lair. That is really cool. And it, yep, is on cassette. Interesting. Is that on a copy? No. That is a third-party Coleco Adam cassette. Intriguing. You can't just put any old cassette in a Coleco Adam, so I'm curious how that works. This box is very clearly meant to hold 5 1/4-inch floppy disk, but they have a cassette in there anyway, and it is an Adam version, so... But then we have possibly 2 other things, or is this just padding? That one's padding. Okay. Then there is this, which I have heard about this before, but I wasn't necessarily going to get into it, but I probably will now. Oh, that's just, it's done. Oh, okay, there are some things to do. This, okay, yeah, it is a kit. This is a Blue Scuzzy kit. Mostly made for Macs. But this is able to emulate a SCSI device, and that's all that there is. So that's interesting. I don't know about the throughputs, the speeds, the compatibility, any of that. I haven't really looked into it, but that's interesting. I will have to put that together. That's probably a good stream right there, is putting that together, and then trying it out with something like maybe my Roland W30. Oh, my Mac Classic does SCSI, I bet, so I could try it with that. Thank you for sending the software and the hardware interface emulator thing. That is going to be really handy. Yeah, wow, okay, this is hilarious because I'm literally going to be installing DOS 5 on my IBM 5150, and now I may as well install PC-DOS 5 on my IBM 5150 because that is almost a more appropriate thing. Oh man, thank you so much. This package comes from Thomas in Stord, Norway. Now, I definitely know what is in this one, and it is something that is definitely going to be worth making a video about here at some point. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it because they need repair as far as I'm aware, but I'll see if I can get one to fire up here because I'm not sure quite what the condition of them is, but these should be interesting. Like this packing method is. Huh. Okay. So, oh, they're slightly larger. Oh, no, they're about the size I was thinking. What is that? Is that the battery? Whoa. Hold on here. There are multiple things going on. I'm not sure. Was that a test battery? Okay. All right. I'm getting ahead of myself because you guys have no idea what I'm looking at. Let's go with this one first because I suspect it's the one that is more intact. These are two interesting OQO computers. These are pocket computers that I believe run something XP era. And I think one of these may work, but the other one does not. That's a hard drive. Okay. Connector. Okay, I'm going to give it power and see if it fires up because I don't remember. Maybe I should read the message first. Let me go do that. Okay, so if I read Thomas's message correctly, oh, you know what? I should check here. Okay, we'll take 100 volts because this is not from the US. I wanted to make sure I wasn't about to blow that up. I think this one is going to have a variety of Linux on here. So let's go ahead and see. I'm going to cut in here with some testing I did after filming all of the mail video because I started the OQO up a couple of times and each time the Linux that was installed to the hard drive seemed to stop at a different point, which is making me think that the hard drive might be bad. And then I could actually hear it park the heads on the hard drive and then it would just sit and blink the cursor forever. I was, however, able to flash a 32-bit copy of Ubuntu onto a flash drive. I went with 12.04 here, and it actually booted and wanted me to go ahead and start the install. So I think it does have a future. It just may have to be run off of a flash drive instead of the internal drive, because if that's failing, I don't know how I'm going to find a replacement for it because it looks kind of proprietary and they probably are all starting to fail now. So going flash, even with a just tiny little USB drive, will probably make the most sense, but I'll investigate that further later. I'm gonna have to look into these more. But again, thank you for sending these. I'm gonna put these back together now and continue on to the next package. And the final package comes from Adam in Avon, Ohio. Okay, now the last box is something a little different and kind of weird, so I'm gonna have to, well, it's right here. First off, it's been sitting next to me the whole time. This one may not make sense at first, but just give me a moment after I unbox it. Okay. These are two Asus 1080p monitors. Now, you've probably seen over the course of many of my videos in the office setup that I have a lot of 1080p monitors. And it's one of those things I just happen to pick up at Goodwill every time I see one. However, the one thing I have never had in my entire life is 3 of the exact same monitor. Well, these 2 monitors are the same model, and this one is the exact same model as these. So, these were offered to me after I did the video mentioning which monitors I have here, and they offered to send me these 2 to go with this one, which they are exactly the same. And that now opens up some possibilities because there are some things that you can do with triple monitor setups that are just better when you have 3 of the exact same monitor that I've been considering covering for quite a while, and this is going to make that a lot easier. So, and these are complete. They have the stands. I do have the stand for this somewhere. I will have to find it, or I may try and get a triple monitor stand and set it up with all of them, because it'll make sense to do it. But yeah, that's really excellent. Thank you so much for sending these. That is going to be really awesome to have all three of these. So I can think of 2 examples, I'll tell you right now, that are ideas that I have for triple monitors that would be 1080p. One of them is 3 PlayStation 3s running Gran Turismo 5 or 6, because that supported multi-monitor over networking and none of that stupid modern networking stuff where it has to be internet connected. I've actually done it where you set static IPs on the different PS3s and then run the game on each one and tell them to connect to the host server. And you can just have them all plugged into a switch with no DHCP or anything, or even internet, and then it'll work. So that's something that could be done, and actually be kind of interesting to see if you can do that with RPCS3 in 3 instances of the same game, because it's not exactly easy to get 3 PS3s now. Thankfully, I still have all of the ones that I've ever had, and I can set that up. So that's one thing. And then another thing is, and I'm still not 100% sure this will work, I've always wanted to try the original version of NVIDIA Surround on a slightly more period correct hardware, so something like a 600 series card, and that needed more timing accurate monitors. There's some like weird sync polarity stuff, I think it is, that you get when you connect these even digitally, and having them all be the same monitor can make a big difference. Now, that might have been for 3D vision. I need to go back and reread that. And these won't do 3D vision, I believe. There might be a 30 frames per second patch for 3D vision, but I'm going to look into all of that, because that's worth doing. Even at 30 frames per second, it would be worth experiencing a surround 3D vision experience, because I've never been able to see that. I don't think many people will have ever. So it would be worth trying. So there are a number of options that having 3 identical monitors opens up that I never thought I would have. So again, thank you for sending these. I know it may seem strange on the surface to just send 1080p monitors, but it actually has some real significance to me. Well, thank you again to everyone who sent something. It really means a lot to me, and there are some really cool projects coming up and some things I'm definitely going to cover in streams instead of videos, because I've learned that that format works a little bit easier for me to take a look at some things. So I'll be doing that. But there'll definitely be things that get videos. Like, I'm really interested in trying to figure out what on earth is going on with these crazy GPIB cards. So those are definitely going to be getting like a video at some point. And yeah, there's just a lot of great stuff in here. So thank you all again. If you enjoyed this video, you might want to subscribe. If you want to help support the channel, I'm on Patreon, and there are some links in the description to other ways you can help. But that is it for the moment. So I will see you next time.